world as we know it has fundamentally changed. If you are not fully aware of that, you should get with the program. The world as we know it has fundamentally changed. Humanity has transcended global scalability. Now, humanity is thinking intergalactic. We have gone extraterrestrial. We are tired of colonizing Earth. Now we are annexing into other planets. Have you ever sat down to think about the fact that in the next couple of decades, somebody can give you an address, and that address is not on Earth. It's in another planet entirely. This is a reality. This is an eventuality. But have you sat down to really think about it? That there will be a different navigation system. The way that we use Google Maps out here, there will be a different, maybe Mars maps, wherein you get to space travel, get into another planet, and navigate, circumnavigate your way around it. Have you ever sat down to really think about it? We are going through a period of disruption across, on a scale that is incomprehensible and unprecedented. That's what's going on right now. There has been a redistribution economically, technologically, and demographically. Did you know that the median age in Europe is 44 years old? That's the average age in Europe. It's 44 years. The median age in Asia is 32 and a half. But the median age in Africa is 19 and a half. The median age in Nigeria is 18. Let's talk about Africa as a whole. So if the median age in Africa is 19 and a half, that means that a larger percentile of Africans have not even come into economic strength yet. It means a larger percentile of Africans have not even procreated yet. They've not married, they've not given birth. But we are already the youngest continent on Earth, age-wise. And the projection is that by 2050, 1 out of every 4 human beings on Earth will be African. This is not guesswork. This is the eventuality. It's a game of numbers. The rest of the world is aging. Africa is growing younger. So what does a future like that, what does it look like? Where 25% of the world's population look like you. All black. Have you ever sat down to look at what that's going to be like? Because mathematically speaking, that means a larger percentile of that population will be around the average. Walk with me, I'm going somewhere. Right? It means a larger percentile of the population will hover around the average, around the ordinary, around the unremarkable. Because it's the law of averages, right? So how do you avoid being the same as everybody else in that reality? We've had a problem plague us on this continent for the longest. A lot of us grew up having toys as kids, but we never were able to exercise ownership on those toys. I mean, on paper, we owned the toys, but our parents determined when we'll use them and when to put them away. So is it a surprise that we grow up seeking permission to live out our God-given dreams? It is because that's how we grew up. Now we are seeking permission to fulfill our own dreams, asking questions. Ask from anybody who cares to listen. They walk to you, and I go across board, and I speak at conferences, and a whole lot of people come to me and ask me questions. Frank, I have this idea, and what do you think about it? And I'm like, it is your idea. It does not matter what I think. It is yours. But it's a prevalent challenge that we have on this continent wherein we seek permission to fulfill potential. And in the world that is coming, if we are not able to exercise agency over our lives, it's going to be a massive problem. It's already a problem. We do not have ownership mentality in Africa. Do you know that we are the richest continent as far as natural resources are concerned. But paradoxically, this continent has the poorest people on earth. Are we talking about oil in Nigeria, or gold in Ghana, or diamonds in Sierra Leone, or cobalt in Democratic Republic of Congo? In fact, DRC produces 75% of the world's entire cobalt. How about coffee? The global market share of coffee is $450 billion. And Africa has countries that are leading coffee producers in the world. But guess how much comes into Africa from that $450 billion? $2.5 billion comes into Africa. In fact, Uganda, being one of the leading coffee producing nations on earth, only earns $800 million from that $450 billion. But Germany, that does not produce any coffee whatsoever, earns $45 billion from that 450. So that's literally 10% of the global market share of coffee. They do not produce coffee, but they gain 10% of the global market share. It is the same for a lot of natural resources. We have been unable to exercise ownership. Now, there are a myriad of reasons that we can point to as the cause. Colonialism is one of those things that has been ingrained into the mechanisms of society where control is the order and we seek permission to exercise ownership. It means there must be a redefinition of what ownership entails. There are three levels to enlightenment. Three levels to human enlightenment and understanding of oneself. The first one is academics, which is the lowest tier. So it's the way that you learn in a formalized environment. Literally, you are told what you are. That's what academics entails. Then we have a higher tier, which is called education. A lot of people misconstrue academics and education. They are not the same. In fact, there's a quote that says, "Do not allow your academics get in the way of your education." So education, from the moment that we are born on earth and we inhale oxygen, education has started. From the midwife who held us to father's look of shock as he looks at us, and our mother's tired face, and noise of people who are in the hospital ward happy and screaming. Education has started, and it continues till the end of our lives. Now that's another tier of human enlightenment. Then the highest is revelation. Now this is the most important part of things, and that's where I'm going to. Because revelation is when you are in synchronicity, when you are in tandem with your predestined and God-ordained lane and venture, right? But that does not happen from without. It happens from within. That means that a lot of introspection must happen, and you must look into yourselves, what your core strengths are. We are looking at a dispensation where artificial intelligence basically, gathers data and patterns to accentuate standardization, automation, and uniformity. So that means that AI is trying to get us to be the same, to be in uniformity. But the problem with that is that the future is going to place a very heavy demand on uniqueness. And that's the challenge, because when there is no difference between you and the next man beside you, what exactly is your value proposition? How do you outpace the machines? You outpace the machines by recognizing what the machines cannot replicate. But the irony is that you cannot understand what the machines cannot replicate if you do not understand what the machines can do so well. So that means you cannot close your eyes to what artificial intelligence is doing. You cannot ignore it. You cannot pretend like it does not exist, because it is literally redefining your life, your economic viability, your means of livelihood, and your sustainability. So you must understand what the strengths of the artificial intelligence is, or what the strengths are, and in that understanding, you know not to invest effort there. You go and camp around where there are inabilities of the machine. And these are areas like nuances, emotions, things that are transient. So maybe in the world that is to come, in this future that is fast approaching, a lot of your core strengths or your core weapons will be non-linear thinking, distinct taste, your uniqueness as a human being, curiosity. These are things that cannot be measured by algorithm. These are things that the machine knows absolutely nothing about. These are your strengths. What makes you human? The future is going to place a heavy demand on your humanity and your ability to be different from everybody else. I say this because if we think that the expatriates have come, if we think that the West have come into Africa now, we are joking, because they have not come at all. We are steadily on the way to outpacing or usurping Asia as the labor capital of the world. Do you know what that means? When Asia was the labor capital of the world, right, that's why all these multinationals and conglomerates had to go and set up shops in those areas to employ people. But the larger percentile of people that they were employing were uneducated and they were not enlightened. So they were earning stipends while they were putting out incredible products. But if we can see the future over here and see what is going to happen, and we start to equip ourselves with requisite knowledge and enlightenment, it means that when they come, they are not coming to own us. They are coming to partner with us. Because they are coming. Because everybody is trying to look for something to make them make their means of livelihood better. That's literally what everybody is looking for. They have the resources, they have the ownership mentality, and they see resources here, natural resources, and now the human resource is booming. They are coming, most definitely. The problem is, how do you position for that? Are you aware that Africa has 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land? Are you aware of that? So when you look at it from a global scale, right, 60% of the land that can be cultivated, that hasn't been cultivated yet and that is arable, is here in Africa. How are we positioning for that? I've always said this: don't sleep on agriculture. Don't sleep on it. So there are a whole lot of questions that we need to ask. I'm not here to give you practical steps or anything. I'm just here to let you know what is eventually going to befall us. It's not a maybe thing. This is an eventuality. Now the ball is in your court, right? The onus is on all of us to recognize what our strengths are, leverage on our unique abilities, leverage on revelation, and not just academics now, but education leading to revelation, understanding oneself, understanding what your strengths are, and building upon that into the future. Because by 2050, when almost everybody else looks like you, how do you stand out? Thank you.